Hi, hello, this is Howard Teaser King coming to you with the week 2 of the playoffs. The week 2 of the NFL playoffs. Just got 4 games. We'll walk through them. First, I want to tell you about my Las Vegas trip. I bet 28 teasers, 28 teaser bets. I won 27 of them. And this is how you play them. You pound them. I pound Florida State. I got here. I got them over and over and over. Here I got them with UCLA. And then I pounded them with Seattle. See, I just keep pounding and pounding and pounding. Here I have them with Philadelphia. This is how you play teasers. You just pound the team. Here you go. Here's an 11-team teaser, all W's. This is how you play teasers, everybody. All those playoff teams and my best college games. Michigan State, Florida State, UCLA. Everything's a W. For $10, I win 400. That's how you play teasers. There's 27 picks here. 27. They're all there. 27 teasers. That is how you bet teasers. You don't play 4 teams and 2 teasers and you win. You go 3 out of 4, you win 1, you lose 1, you lose the juice. That's not how you play teasers. This is how you play teasers, right here. And basically, that's what I keep trying to say. That's the only way you can win them. You can't just play 4 teams. But it was the perfect week because I had all, like, New England needed #1 seed. Denver needed it. They were fighting for 1 seed. Seattle, Frisco, Philly needed to beat Dallas. Well, I did have the Jets, who didn't need it, but they beat Miami because of the trend. Pittsburgh needed the game. It was just beautiful. And then I played it with the top, my lock bowl games. And I only played those few bowl games over and over. I didn't try to pick every bowl game. I didn't care about every bowl game. But the ones that stand out were there. And that's really what you do, is you just pound and pound when you get the lock game, that big game, and you can't win. Now, that Florida State game was a huge touchdown at the end. It won me $2,000, that touchdown at the end. It was amazing. I had them in the 11-team teaser at 10. I wanted an 11-team, a 10-team, and a 9-team teaser. Who the hell can do that? Only the Teaser King. Thank you. That's how you do it. And that Florida State touchdown, I was laying 2 on the card. And it was like a couple of 400s and a $300 one and a couple of other bets. It was huge. Just a huge, huge touchdown. And it was funny. Had I still been in Vegas, I probably would have bet on Auburn. The line went up to 11, and I would have trapped the game to cover myself. And but I was back here in Michigan, and I would have covered myself. But and I would have won on both sides because I would have had Auburn in 11, which would have won. Florida State -2, which would have won, and the 1.5. And that's the other thing, is bet the game early when you see the line. When that line is good, it was 7.5 in Vegas. It's staring at me, Florida State. I go, this is a joke. And I laid the 1.5 as much as I could. Then it went to 8. I got it into 2. Now, had the game been an 11 or 12, I never would have locked it. I wouldn't have bet it as hard. More risk, same reward. Why take more risk? So that's what I liked about it. It was under 3, which is, as you can see, it's a very common number. That's how you play teasers. You keep it under 3, over 7, over 10. And with Auburn, I didn't think they'd win. I didn't think they'd play like that. I haven't seen that defense play like that. It was a very good win. I thought Florida State, Winston didn't look very well. I thought they tried to pass too well. They kept putting pressure on him, and I don't know why they just didn't keep running on him. I thought that was very strange. And then his passes, you could see he was nervous. He was like, oh my God, it's a national title game. He was in over his head, I thought. And he came back, but that's the problem with the freshmen. They're just, you don't know how they get them. Now, if that kid's still there as a senior, That's what I like about more senior teams. They've been there. They handle it. That's why I like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and everything. So the team that's been there, they got the experience. They know how to win. And that leads into pro football for this week. Sorry, but I had to tell you about Vegas because it's a learning lesson. It's a master's class here. I don't teach football handicapping 101. I teach the master level, the 501 classes. All right, let's walk down. New Orleans goes to Seattle. Seattle's laying 7.5 to 8 points. Forecast is 50 with gusty wind and rain. Who's not going to like that? Probably the dome quarterback who passes a lot, meaning Drew Brees. And who will like it? Probably the home team who plays defense and runs the ball. So the first game is I love Seattle laying the 1.5. New Orleans is really a bad road dog. They got away with it last week, but you would have won taking Philly also betting against New Orleans. But here we went 4 for 4. We did have New Orleans. We had San Diego in the upset. Indy ended up being a home dog, so I bet them a little bit more. And Frisco, as the road favorite, we did get away with, but they should have won. I mean, it was, they should have probably beat them a little bit more. But with that said, that's what you're looking for here. You've got to respect the 1 seeds, but it depends, and you got to look at the weather. And the line makes the difference. When the line moves, you've got to bet on it. So we'll go to the next game. New England laying 7 to Indy. Alright, now you've seen Andrew Luck come back. He's made big comebacks. He's down 20, he comes back and beats Kansas City. Now New England doesn't have that great of a defense, but going against Tom Brady in practice certainly helps them here. As you can see, Kansas City shredded Indy's defense. And with that said, I do believe that he will have his day against Indy's defense also, Brady. He'll have a big day. Now, it's supposed to also be 50 and rainy there. So, again, they might have to run more. Well, New England's got a better running attack with Blunt from Oregon and Brady. So, he's handled the rain and the snow and everything. Now, back to my initial, he's been there and done that. Andrew Luck has been to the playoffs, but hasn't been there, done that. Hasn't won that road playoff game. And, I don't think the lights will get to him, but I don't think he's got the supporting cast. The difference is Kansas City should never let T.Y. Hilton beat him. New England will not let T.Y. Hilton beat him. Belichick will take him away and say, you find somebody else. That's what Belichick had. He did it when they faced New Orleans and Jimmy Graham. He basically took him away till the guy pulled his hamstring or hurt his leg, and that hurt. Otherwise, in this game, T.Y. Hilton will not score 2-3 touchdowns and get 200 yards receiving, and they're not going to give up a 75-yard touchdown. When's the last time you've seen Belichick do that? So Frisco's going to have, or Indy's going to have to run the ball, and they're not that strong. I look at New England laying the 1. Tom Brady will win the game. We've seen it over and over. Even if it's close at the end, he will find a way to march him down and win the game. Luck can do that, but he does it more at home, and we've seen him get blown out in a few games. So I just find, Indy in 13 is probably not a bad play, but I don't like the weather for him. And with Andrew Luck, he would not get blown out at home, I told you last week. And that's why I liked Indy. Even if they were laying 1, I was going to take +5. But when the spread got better, it made the bet better. And so that's the thing. So bottom line here, this will probably be a close game, but Tom Brady will win it. And that's what you bet on. You're betting Tom Brady and you're betting Bill Belichick. It's the playoffs. Must win. Brady's been there before. 5 Super Bowls. They will not lose this game. Period. Next game is Frisco, Carolina. I love the dog here. And the problem is the dog keeps changing. Frisco starts as a 2, goes to a 1, goes to even. Carolina goes to a 1, goes to a 2. Now Frisco's a 1 again. Synopsis. I've already bet Frisco +7. Now that Frisco's a favorite, if it goes to 1.5 or 2, I'm going to take Carolina plus 7.5 or 8. And I'm going to play both teams getting 7 or more. Why? Because Carolina at home will play them tough, but you will not blow out Frisco. This will be a very close game, just like the Green Bay game with Frisco and all the other games last week. So if you give me Carolina as a home dog, I gotta love it. If you give me Frisco as a road dog, I gotta love that. So, like I said, I will probably bet both sides. I've already bet Frisco and 7, and now that Frisco is favored, I will now bet Carolina and 7.5 or 8. And you know, it's not strange. This is a very even game. Teams are very, very evenly matched, good defenses. They played to a 10-9 game before. It'll be a low-scoring game. Maybe one team will hit 20. Probably 20-17, 17-16, 17-14. But I got to take the dog here, and this is the most even game of the day. So this is the one game I can see the road team winning, but I do like the dog. So be careful. Whoever the dog is, bet it. And I've already given you who to bet them with. And the last game, which is not quite a lock, but the play of the weekend, Denver laying 9.5 to San Diego. All right, who do you like? I'll let you answer this question. You can leave it in the comment box. I'm going to give you who I like. I like San Diego. San Diego, this is too many points. First of all, the trend is all San Diego in the San Diego-Denver trend. San Diego 6-0, 7-0, 10-1 in Denver. So the last 11 in Denver, San Diego with the points are good. San Diego's 9-2 as the dog. San Diego's 7-1 as the dog. The dog's 9-2 in Denver, excuse me. So the dog in Denver's 9-2. The dog, San Diego, as the dog in the series is 7-1. So what you're dealing with here is San Diego, who plays very well in Denver. Now, it's Peyton Manning. Well, that's okay. They've beaten him already in Denver this year, and the other game in San Diego, they only lost by 7. So why, here's a team that has the Denver defensive coordinator as their head coach from last year's defensive coordinator. So why would you have a team who played them very tough in San Diego, who's beaten them in Denver this year, getting 9.5 points? It's too many. Now let's add on to that, Phillip Rivers is healthy. Allen, their rookie wide receiver, and the little guy, I can't remember the little guy's name. Who's the little guy? The little guy, they got Antonio Gates, they're running the ball well. Denver's got their linebacker out. All that, and let's look at who's the biggest choker in the league for the last 15 years, who always goes 1-out in the playoffs except for one time. That would be Peyton Manning. Yes, the choker of all time. Great regular season, horrific in the playoffs. San Diego went and pounded Cincinnati, who I think is a very good, solid team. And they beat them pretty badly. And I look at this game, I would not be surprised if San Diego gets the W. I will not be surprised if San Diego loses 27-24. The only thing that would shock me is if they lose 35-10. I would be shocked. You have Phillip Rivers in that offense. You have a very good defense that knows how to defend Peyton Manning. You have Peyton Manning that really hasn't blown out anybody except for Oakland when they needed to, when I needed them. And they're in the playoffs, which they never blow out anybody. So you have all this going for you, and that's my point here. It's just what you have is just I don't like the spread. I think the spread should be really about 3 or 4 points. I think you're getting a free teaser with the 9.5, and certainly getting 15.5 with the team that went to Cincinnati, a very good team, and won. And I think they just have a little bit of faith that they got in. They beat Kansas City in a game they should have lost, but they got the W. They got in the playoffs, and now they're in. They beat Cincinnati, and they got nothing to lose. They'll be loose. They're supposed to lose in Denver, but it's just Peyton Manning. He just For whatever reason, he chokes all the time in the playoffs. Last year, he didn't really choke. It was more the safety didn't know how to play defense, didn't realize I have to stay behind the guy and let the guy catch the 70-yard pass, which was the biggest joke I've ever seen, and that guy shouldn't even be on the team anymore. But with all that said, San Diego on 15.5, I don't know, that's a joke. And especially the trend when they played Denver. In Denver, they're 10-1, and as the dog, they're 7-1, including twice this year as the dog. So I honestly just don't see. San Diego is 86% this year against the number, 15-2 against the number. Denver's very strong against the number also. I think they're 14-3 or they're 13-3, but I get they had the break. But San Diego's on a roll, beating Kansas City and now Cincinnati, two very good teams. I just love them plus 15. So probably the best way to bet San Diego is put them in a teaser with Seattle laying the 1.5, and probably play the dog in the Frisco game. And then you got New England, probably play them with Seattle. And you can play them with San Diego also. The dog, since you're separating the dog, once you're playing with Frisco and once you're playing with Carolina, I like to play them with different teams. So I would, unless you have a solid lock, so I'd play Frisco maybe with San Diego and Carolina with Seattle. And that way you're breaking that bet up. Again, I think Seattle will win the game straight out there at home. They handle New Orleans. New Orleans is not going to like to win in the rain. They barely beat Philadelphia, who to me is okay, but they're not a Seattle. Now, Seattle is the best team playing at home with a great defense. It's going to be windy and rainy, and Breeze, a passing team, is not going to like that. So this is where they're arrested, and I think they get the win. I think they got the win because of their defense. And New England will be a close game, but Brady will win it. Take the dog in the Frisco, and San Diego's getting way too many points. Brady, I mean, Manning could win the game. Could win by 2 or 3 points, but 15.5. I mean, even if Denver gets going and gets up 21, you got San Diego, you know, they get touchdown and it's 14. That's a lot of points in a playoff game. You're going to beat it. You're going to blow them out by 30 points in a playoff game against a good offense like San Diego, who just came off a big win with Cincinnati. He's got nothing to lose. I don't see that at all. That's what you're saying here with the 15.5. They're going to win by 30. Otherwise, you take the 15.5. And would anybody be surprised if San Diego wins? I don't think so. So that is how you bet teasers. You do not play Seattle, New England, Frisco, and San Diego, $100 each, and you hope you win all four. Because you know, hopefully, Teaser King being on fire like he is, could possibly win all four. I won all four last week, but last week I had Indy as a home dog in two teasers. I had New Orleans as the dog in 2 teasers. San Diego, and Frisco was a lighter play. Now, you got to understand teasers. The spread determines a lock more than anything else. Florida State was a lock because they were 7.5. Michigan State was a lock because they were getting 6.5 up to 12.5. The Eagles, when they had to beat Dallas, was a lock because they were laying 0.5 point. Denver was a lock against Buffalo because they were 7.5, or New England because they were 7.5 laying 1.5. If the line's 12 and you got to lay 6, it's a lot harder and it's a lot less to lock. More risk, the same reward. You're still betting 12 to win 10. Or in my case, if I did play a 3-team teaser: UCLA, Florida State, and Michigan State in this craziness here, and that pays 7 to 5. So I'm not laying the juice. I had to win all 3, but they were all 3 locks, so I just said I might as well play them together instead of playing them 2 and 2. But again, the point spread determines the locks. So 7's down to 1s are locks. I'm not going to lock New England because their defense isn't that strong. I love Seattle, but I'm afraid of Drew Brees a little, and the weather will hurt. But again, it's probably very close to a lock. And San Diego being very close to a lock, but I'd hate to lock against Peyton Manning. But no, like the 15.5 should, you know, not. You shouldn't be sweating this to cover. Even in worst case, Denver wins by 10. But I don't see it being. I see it being a very close game. And that's what I see. And my championship will be Frisco at Seattle, and I'm going to say New England goes to Denver. I'm going to say Denver wins slightly, and that'll be your championship game. So you'll see if I'm right. That's what I've seen. And that's basically the playoffs and my Vegas trip all rolled into one. Always a lesson to be learned. In Vegas, looking at the line, I added $1,000 to UCLA. I'm watching UCLA. They're laying 7, and I go to another casino, and I see it go to 7.5. And just something hit me, and I love UCLA, and something hit me. When I saw that line jump from 7 to 7.5, I went back and put more and more money on it. I had them in the 9-team teaser, the 10. These 9, 10, 11-team teasers are beautiful, but it was all New England and Denver and Seattle, and then let's add UCLA, Florida State, and Michigan State. I love Michigan State. I'm at the poker table. There's a guy playing poker, and they're talking football, and he's talking about bets. Well, being the teaser king, I'm always at work. I go to the guy, and I said, just take the money line on Michigan State. I said, you don't even need the points. Just money line it, State's going to win. And I knew they were going to win. I just had that feel after watching them. I knew they were going to beat Ohio State. And like I said, the worst play I've ever given out was taking Michigan against Michigan State this year. I got violently ill watching that game that I was stupid enough to take Michigan there. And I almost got away with it. Gardner got them down to the 10. If they scored a touchdown, they would have, I think I was getting 12, they would have covered that. But basically, from that point on, it was all Michigan State. I knew there was no way they were going to lose to Stanford. Nobody gave them respect. The spread was way too high. It was a joke, but I just kept getting the feeling State was going to win. But a lot of it is just vibe. I like the team, but then something triggers that I like it more, the point spread or something. So that's basically what I'm doing. So the better the spread, that's why it's a lock. Laying, let's say New England's laying 12 points to Indy. I'm betting Indy there, sorry. Lane 7, I'm taking Tom Brady. Lane 12, I'm not. That was with the Florida State. It was 7.5 and 8. It was a lock. That spread ended, I believe, at 12 and some 13. Now, had it been 12 or 13 initially, I would never have locked Florida State, nor probably bet them. I would have taken Auburn in the 18 like I did when Auburn played Alabama. When Alabama was 11 over Auburn, I fully expected Alabama to win, but I said Auburn 17 will not get blown out. And that's how I felt there. I didn't think Auburn would get blown out. Well, I called it by 20. But if the spread was 12 and I got 18, and I'm taking Auburn there. So you got to look at the spread. It's a key to betting, and you've got to be flexible enough to be able to bet either team, like the Frisco-Carolina game. Whoever's getting more than a touchdown, I'm betting, and if the line keeps moving, I'm going to keep betting the other team. So basically right now you got Frisco and, I got Frisco and 7, and it'll be, if Frisco goes to 1.5, 2, I'll take Carolina and 8 in a different teaser. And I expect to win them both. I expect that this game is a 3-point game. They played 10-9. And you can't tell me Frisco's that great they're going to blow them out, because Carolina's a very good team. Same thing with Carolina. You can't blow out Frisco. They're not going to get blown out. So that's my point. And you just keep it open. You watch the point spread, and you hammer them, and you nail them in more than one teaser. For different amounts. I had many different amounts here. The 9, 10, 11 teamer, you don't expect to win. That's why I didn't play them that big, but I still won big money on them. It just was, everything was in the cards there. So anyway, it was the perfect storm. So very happy with that. So anyway, good luck this weekend. We'll be here next weekend with the playoffs. We have to run back to Vegas because we got to cash all our tickets in. So it's going to be fun. I was teaching the guy as I was betting with, the teller at the sports book at Caesars. I gave him my card and gave him some picks, and I'll go back to him and I'll just hand him all the picks. And it's funny, when I made the bets, I heard a voice and it says, "You're going to win them all." And I kind of laughed. I kind of believed it, and I'm like, and damn if I didn't win them all. It blows my mind. All right, well, that's who you got as the handicapper. Anyway, one last thing. I was telling my friends, because they can't believe what I do, how accurate I am, and they go to me, how do you do it? And I finally figured out, because it's not all technical with me. I don't just look at the numbers and say, well, San Diego's 10-1 in Denver, so therefore San Diego is the winner. What I do is I also got a very keen eye. I can scout and I can definitely draft for teams, and basically I can watch the games and I can tell what's going to happen. So if I can tell the players and how they play and how they're coached, and I bet the coach and the coordinators, they got a good offense, they got a good defense. What do you hear me? Tom Brady will win the game. I can tell winners and losers. That's what I bring to the table that a technical guy won't or can't. He's just going to say, this team's 10-0, bet them. I don't do that. There's several times I will not bet a 10-0 trend. It could be an injury. It could be I don't like the matchup. And that's what I take UCLA. Why did I like UCLA against Virginia Tech? Because I looked, Virginia Tech lost to Maryland, Virginia Tech lost to Duke, and they lost to Alabama. But forget that game. The Virginia Tech and Duke game, or the Maryland and Duke game, I says they can't beat Maryland and Duke. UCLA, on the other hand, had beat USC, and they had a great quarterback. Plus, they beat Oregon State and Washington. So I knew UCLA was a quality team with a good quarterback, and I knew they could score on Virginia Tech. And I knew Virginia Tech has no offense, was going to have a hard time. 42-12 later. So that's when I'm analyzing and I'm seeing the quarterback, and I know he's a good quarterback. Or other schools, I'll watch and I'll say, this quarterback's terrible. And, you know, that's the point. I know the talent. And that's what I bring to the table that probably no other handicapper brings to the table. I can watch the talent. I can see who's good and bad. I can tell if they have a good defense or not. I can tell if they have a good coach or not. And that's the thing. I knew Dan Antonio at Michigan State was going to win that game. I knew their defense was not going to be scored on. They should have won the game 31-13 if he doesn't throw the pick six. Michigan State just before the half. But that's the whole point. I can tell the defense. I can tell the team. So anyway, that's what you have with me is a very unique handicapper that's just not handicapping technical trends, but fundamentally I can tell the players who's good and bad. And that's why we can bounce off. One year we have TCU and Utah. The next year we got UCLA out of the blue, and whoever it'll be this year. And that's what I do is I can see the talent. I know how good they are. I know if they're a winner or a loser. I bet against the losers and I bet on the winners. We're betting Tom Brady. We're betting Seattle. And we're not taking Peyton Manning, and we're betting on Jim Harbaugh. And that's what you do. All right, have a great week. Just happy to be back, and I will please comments, questions, and that's it. All right, have a great weekend, everybody.